I love hearing about that shift, both in terms of the actual show itself, but also your shift because, people listening to Radical Candor, people who are, on their journey and whether as individual contributors into managers on a broader leadership journey, something that really leapt out at me was just that sense that as you were getting more successful, that you felt like you were almost losing some of that creative spark. And I know some of the things where people shift into management is the very thing that they love doing. And now they're, having to create a new skill set and maybe shift some of those very things that they loved about their work. So what thoughts do you have about that shift and what advice might you have?
Well, the interesting thing about working in a career where you're constantly getting better at something and getting promoted and so forth, that at some point you do get promoted to manage other people doing the very things that you love doing hands on. And management is a very different skill than any type of endeavor where you're making something. If you're making a design or a spreadsheet or anything that requires looking at something and transforming it into something else is very different than managing the people that are doing the transforming. And management is really messy and it requires so many different skills than making does that you have to and I think a lot of businesses get this wrong. They think if you have an expertise at making this thing that you make and become really excellent at it, that somehow those skills will translate to managing others doing it, and they don't. They don't. It couldn't be more different. And so you really do have to learn tremendously different skills in order to really be able to lead people, which is what management is. It's not managing the minutia.